The goal for this podcast is to better our understanding through conversation. Communication is one of the easiest, yet hardest things to do. Whether that's communication of feelings, thoughts, or opinions. But through communication, new perspectives begin to take place. Throughout the various topics and opinions discussed on this podcast, we hope that we can add value, understanding, and a few laughs to your day. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. We'll hop right into it, man. You were saying that with everything going on, you said, what were you saying?
It's a lot going on in the world right now, man. A lot of emotions, man. It's what with everything that's been going on in the world right now, it's led a lot of people to emotional peak, and emotional lows, and and everything else in between, man. So it's like, go ahead.
Is that like you specifically? You mean surrounding like the whole election and everything like that?
Yeah, definitely the election, man. The election has people, man. It's people emotionally unstable right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, man. That I've been wanting to talk about, so to speak. And then the other thing, hold on. The other was actually, I took a couple of notes down. I don't know where we're gonna go at with this, man, but hey, we are.
This is gonna be a good one, especially if you brought the notes out, man. This might be a good one, dog.
Now look at you, man. Just because a brother brought out notes, it's gonna be.
Hey, man.
I told you, you real analytical.
I'm off the cuff with it, man. So we can roll with it.
That meant that he off the cuff, and right now I'm in fisticuffs.
Right.
But so I don't know what direction we're gonna go with this, man. When I say I jotted down a couple of notes, man, it's not much, but it's something worth building toward.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So we'll start with this word here, expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So expectation versus monetary value, and then we're gonna explore allowance.
Allowance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, how I came to this point. I was having a conversation with my mother one day, man. This was I want to say last week, and we began to talk about expectation. Like growing up, it's a lot that's expected of us as children, and then once you graduate from childhood, you move on to that teenager stage, and from that you graduate on into your young adulthood, but it's still adulthood. It's still adulthood. It's still adulthood. It's just you dealing with certain things at the beginning of the adulthood, but then it's like, before you know it, man, it's just like, all you thinking about is I got to pay these bills, man. And then all of a sudden, the introduction of children. Now, well, if you're doing it right, the introduction of, your wife, then, the children and everything else. It's like you're always building, but the expectation, it stays there. And the expectation, it changes, but again, expectation is going to always be there. So we began to talk about expectation versus monetary value. And
Explain
it's like,
that. I said, explain that. Like, what's the connection?
Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think, what hits you when you think about monetary value?
Like the value somebody bring, or the value something brings into like a workplace or your life or whatever the case may be. So that's what I think of.
Go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was just saying, I was just going to just expound on it more, but just like the value something brings, or the value somebody brings. Okay. It determines what you're going to pay for it or how much you'll pay them.
Okay, cool. So that's monetary value, right?
Right.
And especially in regards of a person, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, okay, so from what you were just talking about with monetary value, what would you say? Okay, what would you have said? I know you shouldn't. I know you can't speak for your mother,
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say that your mother would say her expectation of you is?
For me to, this is just my opinion, just like from talking to her and knowing over the years, like to definitely education. She real big on education. Me not to get in trouble, and me to just be self sufficient, like not like be able to take care of myself, pay my bills, provide for my family if I have one, and things like that.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, so now with that being said, so through that, what would you say your monetary value is?
When I was younger, man, I used to be like, bruh, 2 million, you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, I would say, um, what I think I'm worth, you know what I mean? As far as potential wise, unlimited. But I do think I'm getting compensated decently well, you know what I mean? With how with my lifestyle, like my job, what I'm able to buy and do for myself and things like that. Do I wish it was more? Yes. But I do feel like I have to produce more too, and add more value to get more.
Okay, now check
If
this
I'm
out.
being realistic.
Okay, cool. Now we about to go ahead and start flipping this and we about to come into, what it is that actually, would generated this whole conversation.
All
All right. This chat for thought, so to speak.
right.
So okay. So my mother, she kind of came at me about something that I had done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And she said
As
it
mothers
was
tend to do.
yeah, it was in regards to in regards to my children, so her
Right.
grandchildren. And she said she was like, yeah, but you say that you were going to reward the children through payment for them getting good grades. I said, yeah, I did say that. I said, man, I said to me, that's no different than, we going to work every day. And at the end of the day, you didn't work these rigorous hours and you didn't spend, time on the clock. But at the end of the day, the one thing that keep you coming back is the fact of knowing, hey, it's a paycheck awaiting me behind this.
Right.
I work for this. So that started it right there. So she started talking about monetary value, and then from that she was like, but we didn't pay y'all to, like we didn't bring y'all up off this thought or idea of, okay, if y'all make good grades, y'all will get money behind that. Mm-hmm. That was just an expectation.
Right.
So, I was like, well, you right about that. I said, but then it was a part of me that quickly answered, I fired back off and I said, you know what, Mom? To be real with you, I wish you would have did it though. I said, I might have been always, no, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's an incentive there. But so my rebuttal became this. Okay, although y'all might not have said that, in one area of our lives, didn't y'all tell us growing up that if we kept something clean, like our rooms or we clean the house, whatever, all of a sudden our allowance came.
Right.
I said, is that not different than what I said about going to school and you get paid for having good grades? I said, what's different?
That's
and she
true.
said, no, that was y'all allowance. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that started the whole, that started this whole debate, so to speak. And that's how we got to where we at right now.
Right.
So I would like for you to take and chime in right now, brother.
Nah, man, I get that because the expectation, right? Like I totally get where she coming from because now that I had children, I'm like, bro, it ain't, what am I rewarding you for something that you should be doing anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how I look at it. And
but now you're right. I don't mean to cut you off now, but ahead. You're right. But you're right. But as a human being, at the end of the day, bro, what tends to always work with us?
Nah, you gotta have incentives. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But how do you balance it? Like, where do we transition though? Because like, has that always been going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Allowances and this and that. Because I feel like as far as good grades income, if you ain't paying no bills, this is what I was told. If you ain't paying no bills, you ain't got no responsibilities. The least you could do is have good grades and stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Yeah. And clean the house, right?
Right. Now I
So,
did.
okay,
Now me growing up, my mama did for me was give me allowance for like doing my chores, and if I didn't do
yeah.
them, she would subtract all that stuff, right? You know what I mean,
So,
based on
okay,
how
let's talk
well I
about
did it.
chores. Let's talk about those chores for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is the chores, is that still not cleaning the house
True. I
and
guess
doing
it's
stuff
just
that
a
and
different
still
way of
doing
doing it.
stuff that you're supposed to be doing anyways?
You right.
I'm
You right. You right.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we really tricking ourselves here.
You right. Though we do that with a lot of stuff, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Hell.
We do that with a
And
lot of
then the
stuff.
saying say it ain't tricking if you got it.
That's
But it's
true
like we
though.
really that's
Because
what we all
if it ain't the chores, it's gonna be the grades, and if it ain't the grades, it's gonna be keeping you. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
Exactly. And I think at the end of the day, man, I think it becomes perspective based.
It is.
Because for me, the perspective is now for me, when it comes to chores, I'm like, okay, why in the world are we like my wife and I, we'll talk about this. I'm like, why in the world are we trying to pay them for doing something that they should be doing anyways, as far as like the house goes?
Right.
I think for me, I think it's a little tougher when you have to walk out the house and go to school, someplace you really don't want to be. And a lot of times, just like trying to pick up this curriculum that you really don't want to pick up. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. For a lot of people, a lot of kids really feel like that's a waste of time. So it's like,
especially
that's
now with
what I
social
feel like.
media and they getting
Yeah.
exposed. Yeah. Especially now.
I feel like that's when an incentive is needed.
Now, let me chime in with that. I think to me, and this is just me just hypothetically speaking, man, I think it depends on the child. Like for me, I didn't stop. I don't think I started not carrying my grades, and my grades started to slip until I got in high school. And then it's more of like where I needed an incentive base. You know what I mean? I guess with the chores and things like that, maybe I needed a little extra help with that. And maybe early on, maybe the grades and all that stuff, I was just doing them, getting good grades, stuff like that. And the more I got around, you know, more influences and things like that, that's when I needed the more incentive. So maybe that's it depends on the kid, because some kids maybe doing the chores and doing all that stuff come easy, and you ain't gotta tell them to do it. But then with the grades, you gotta kind of help them along, or like give them an incentive to get an extra push. Maybe it's like that.
I mean, you know what, man? I wouldn't deny that. I would not. I'm not even going to try to, you know what I'm saying, present a rebuttal against that, because I do feel like that's true. Every child, as you can see now, having two children, you know, every child is different than the other.
It is.
It's like you from first child to the second child to the third child, if you have it, it's like every child is different. So it's like, bro, no two children are alike. It's just what it is. And it's like some of them will take and it's like they'll take off, they'll sit up there and they'll exceed expectation in school. And some of them you like, bro, I can't even get the bare minimum from you when it comes to the house. You know what I'm saying?
That's
but
true.
it's like, you know, it's a fine line, man. It's just like trying to juggle this, man, and trying to understand, okay, first of all, what is the true aim here? Like, what are we trying to, what is the goal of us to institute a chore? What is the goal for us to institute getting paid for good grades? Like we gotta really like stop and ask ourselves, what is the goal? Like, what are we hoping to get?
That's very true, man. Bruh, that's crazy, man. Like, you know, over the last couple of weeks for me, man, I think it's getting back to like what works for you. You know what I mean? Like that's really this whole situation that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? With the whole transition, moving, all that stuff we talked about last podcast. To me, it really boils down to what works for you. Like what's gonna work for you specifically in your specific situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's where that comes in, because like for some, it's all about perspective. For some people, they could care less about chores and they could care less whether they do that. For me, I want my kid to be able to respect authority. So whatever I have to do to implement them being able to respect authority and not go out here and get arrested and have all this extra things that I know come with not respecting authority, then that's what I'm gonna do. Like whether that's implementing chores, whether that's implementing volunteering, whatever the case may be. But I want them to be able, all right, these are my 3 things that I want them to learn before they leave this house. And whatever those 3 things are, those criterias, I'm gonna implement things or incentives that I'm gonna have to, you know what I mean? That I'm gonna implement 3 things that are higher, whatever the things I need for them to get those 3 things I want them to learn. And in the, you know, I'm in it. But for me, I know for myself, it's trial and error. You know what I mean? Like I done tried a bunch of
This is
things but
true,
died
bro.
it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I
this
done
is
gained
true.
weight, gain weight, lost weight. And I'm just like, wow, man, what is it? What is it? And each time I think it's gonna be this. You know what I mean? I get some results and I'm like, oh man, I got it down pat, and then something else hit me, and now I gotta readjust. You know what I mean? So I think that's, to me, that's my answer to that, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a dope. You know what I'm saying? That's a dope thought to have. But like you say, bro, it's like one thing about it. It's just like parenting. Just like the same. I think the same thing could be said about parenting as it could be said about just being a child. You know what I'm saying?
What you
And
mean?
being a child, you still, no matter how old you get, you still gonna be a child in your parents' eyes.
True.
But it's like even with that, man, you can grow, you can age every year, right? And still, and yet you still in the learning stages of when it comes to your journey in just like childhood. And when I say childhood, I'm actually talking about how our parents still see us.
Yo,
You know
for
what I'm
real.
saying?
I would
It's
be like,
like,
Mo, I'm a grown man. Like, yo. But that's real true though, because in
yeah,
your eyes, you always gonna see them as that.
yeah,
You know
and
what?
it's
You know
like,
what's funny? I heard somebody make a joke, and it was on 85 South show. It was like DC Young Fly, which he like a lot younger than his compadres or whatever. But he was like, "Oh, some cougars in the house," and he was like, "Cougar? You look at them as cougars?" He like, "These just girls I went to school with." And it's like, yo, that's really how it is. Like basically what you saying.
yeah,
It is
it's a
like
perception. Yeah,
that.
yeah. But it's like, and see, that's when perception, the definition of perception changes. Because in your mind, the way you perceive life is, man, I perceive life as though a man that goes out there and work hard for what he wants, a man that has a family, that has a wife, has children, and the perception that somebody else may gain of you is, I still remember when I used to change that boy diapers.
Right, right.
They can't get over that. And you like, yo, it's been a
I'm
lot to
changing
go on
diapers
since.
now.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? You like, bro, diapers don't even cost the same as what they cost when you were changing my. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
man.
like, it's just like, yeah, it's everybody has a different thought process toward everything,
Yeah, it's true.
but it's just like trying to figure out the goal on why we are actually doing the things that we are doing. You know what I'm saying? And what are we like? What are the results that we hoping to get from it? Because it's like, well, for me, my thing is, the thought behind, trying to you know, pay these children if they're getting good grades is the fact that work ethic. I want them to learn to have a good work ethic. I want them to be proud
Exactly.
of their work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? At the end of the day, that's something to strive toward. As many days you wake up, you don't want to go to work, man. And it's like, man, you dread going to work, man. You putting on this work uniform, and it's just like, but you dragging into work. But it's like, man, when you there, the one thing that's gonna keep you going, even if you pulling, I'm saying, an outstanding amount of hours. You know what, man? At the end of the day, boy, this paycheck gonna be fat though. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. You're like, man, I'm gonna be paid though. You know what I'm saying? Right
Right,
now,
right, right.
right now, the struggle, you feel the struggle, especially on a Monday when
Man,
you already know, man, you got the whole week ahead of you, and then you working overtime every day.
come on, man.
So it's like on the, on the back end of that, when you finally made it, phew, well, I made it. Now it's time to sleep. But it's like you sleeping on stacks now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. It done
So
paid
yeah,
off.
that's
It's paid off.
elevation. Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. I think that's what, the implementation of like good parenting is like you said, bro, having a good work ethic. For me, being able to respect authority and like value education, you know what I mean? Being able to take care of yourself, have personal, you know what I'm saying, hygiene for your place and yourself. Like things like that. Like
Yeah.
I think it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's like life principles that's been around
Yeah.
since the
Yeah.
beginning of time. You know what I mean? And I think
Exactly.
that, you may have different religions, different beliefs, different diet plans. You may be vegan, vegetarian, whatever, only eat meat, blah, blah, blah. But it's life principles that apply to everybody that everybody could benefit from. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
So I think for me, like that, and I think that a good word for that is wisdom. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what we try to instill in our children. You know what I mean? I kind of get that. Maybe that's what's the gist of what you're saying. Now what? Maybe I want to make sure we drill this in and like we get it down pat. basically what was the first part? You said something versus monetary value.
Yeah. So hold on one second, brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, what it was, the first part, expectation.
Expectation versus monetary value, meaning.
So expectation versus monetary value. And then, tying that all together with, what I'm saying, the allowance. It's
Okay,
like,
got you.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, so technically, I guess that could be perceived like this. It could really be perceived like monetary value versus expectation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because for a lot of people, it's like, man, what makes people move anyways is the monetary value or something.
Yeah, I see that on a job too, man. Like,
Yeah.
Especially work ethic, and it's like they won't, like, for instance, I say sometimes I look at a person, they be like, man, they should be doing this more, they should be paying us more, they should be doing this, and it's like, well,
but they gonna give the bare minimum because sometimes what they feel, okay, well, I know my word, and guess what? They ain't paying me for my word, so guess what? I'm gonna give them the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? That's like that, but it's just the real, that's the realness of the situation.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think that is a crazy dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when you it's weird, man. Like the more responsibility you gain, the more you begin to understand, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's my thing. It's like, okay, cool. I thought I'm been through so many experiences in life. I thought I had roles, different supervisor roles, and been to different places that do things differently. I think you begin to see the method to the madness. To me, when it comes to things like that, you know what I mean? Like, what's your value, and then what I'm getting compensated for, and then what's the expectation? You know what I mean? Because this is we're not gonna compensate you for something that is the expectation. That's the bare minimum. That's the standard.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Also, the hop on the allowance thing. I think allowance goes into management too, like money management too. I think maybe that's one of the reasons the allowance come into play.
Yeah. I mean, and the more we talk about it, man, I think really and truly, the way you really should attack this thing is like we talked about. A lot of times people are more so they're more so moved by the monetary value, right?
Right.
And then from that, it go to the expectation because through the monetary, somebody before you go on somebody's job, right? The first you got questions. Okay, yeah. Do you have any more questions for me? Oh, yeah. I do have one of the, and I don't know why we be fronting like, I got one. I got one.
We try to ease into it.
Yeah. Well, I got one little question for you. What the pay look like? You know what I'm saying? But that's you know what I'm saying. But although that question came last, that's really the first question that we really won't answer. Because from that comes the next thing. Now in your mind, you already then shifted your expectations to match what you feel the monetary value is.
Exactly. It's just even going to be worth my time.
And guess what? Because guess what? And please believe within 30 to 90 days, guess what? You come back again. Oh, can I get an allowance now since I didn't met the criteria? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I lying?
Yeah, that's real.
That's just to me, that's how the whole thing, that's how we process things a lot of times.
That is crazy, man. I never thought about it like that or like looked at it. But a lot of things are attached to like monetary value and things like that, right?
Yeah.
That is crazy. And that applies to a lot of things though. You know what I mean? Like not just children. Like I think that applies to a lot of things. Like what you willing to pay for, life. The quality of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like different like with me moving, I'm looking at furniture, what's the quality, what's the price? Am I willing to pay this price for this? Can I get this at the same price or at a lower price for the same value?
At the quality.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that the numbers, like what they say, the numbers don't lie. I think that's a true statement, man.
And see, that's when it starts bleeding. It starts to bleed over into that. Okay, yeah, I can get quantity, but really, how far would quantity get me when it's really about the quality?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like all of that stuff, everything. When you start thinking about it, man, everything it comes together. Everything comes together.
It does, though,
to create a bigger picture, a clearer picture.
What was the was those the two categories you had? You had expectation versus monetary value, and then you had to name some more.
And then allowance.
An allowance. Yeah. No, I think that's true though, man. Like it does expectation versus monetary value. That's a what's expected of you. You know what I mean? Like I think that's something that I would say not worried, but I have some hesitation about. You know what I mean? Because I want my kid not to feel entitled. You know what I mean? Like you supposed to do this for me. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Especially with so much access. Like, yeah, we can control, man, and maybe that's just me hypothetically speaking. But like with access to social media and like you said, people feeling like they ain't got to go to school and people saying you don't need college and people saying all of this stuff. It's like, okay, I want them to get a realistic view on life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a
grounded foundation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because it is going to be expectations that you have to meet and you ain't going to get no reward for, or at least no immediate reward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I want them to understand that. And now monetary value, you know what I'm saying? I don't want them to get a skewed view of that either. You know what I mean? Yeah. To where these people highlighting I'm making $160,000 a year working from home and I only work 5 days a month. I mean, stuff like that.
I want to be a blogger. I want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly. I want them to get a realistic view of stuff like that.
Exactly. Or the notorious one for the generation. I want to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like
facts.
But it's you know what I'm saying? And I ain't taking nothing away from them because like some of these children are like, I'm talking about uber talented.
Yeah, man.
But again, they don't understand. It's just like being an NBA player or being an NFL player. A lot of people really don't understand the dynamics of that. What all goes into that,
bro? Let me say this. Let me put this on record, bro. At the end of the day, where do the word job become a bad word? Like so many people are scared to have a job these days. Like if you have a job, apparently you just the lowest of you a peasant if you have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but then, hey, check this out. But then the crazy thing about that, it's the job that keep the world going too.
Is rapping not a job? We see this. We talked about this behind the scenes. They working out. They eat meal plans. They got a chef. They got people that's telling them what to do and when to wake up and what interviews to go do. NFL, is that not a job? Is they not waking up?
But the crazy thing about it, the way you put that though, man, I'm convinced, man, within our mindset as a people, right?
Yeah.
We hate to be told what to do. Don't let it be one of our equals that tell us what to do. Oh, we got a problem.
Right.
But let, you know what I'm saying? Hey, like, and I already know, man, the flack I'm gonna get for what I'm about to say right now. But let Beyonce say something and the Beehive all own it. They all own it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't paying not one bill.
Oh man, hey, bro, look here, man. I'm talking about, bro. Won't say a word. Except get information.
Right, that's crazy. You know I get you though.
But it's like, man. But then let somebody teach you say something. That's it. They pretty much said the same thing Beyonce said way before Beyonce said it. And they get all kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, bro, like, but I ain't gonna lie. With that being said, I got to keep it above.
What's up?
I do the same thing. I've done the same thing even with my wife. My wife would tell me something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because it's coming from her.
Yeah.
That in the past she said, and they're like, bro, I got to say something back. I don't know why, but it's like, and it's like, man, I had to think about it. As you go on, you get older, you age, right?
Yeah.
And you start like things really become a little more, they become a little more pronounced to you. It's like, man, you got to understand self. And one time I just sat there and I just really thought about it. I was like, you know what? Now this girl, when she told me now, and even with that, listen to what I'm saying in my head. Man, this girl, like, first of all, can't even call her, you know what I'm saying, my wife at that point. I'm still trying, you know what I'm saying? Right. I'm still trash talking. Man, now this girl ain't told me this here. And I know she ain't wrong, technically. She ain't wrong. Matter of fact, she way closer to right than wrong. I'm still not going to give her full credit, right? I'm still in my, hey, but then I'm like, but you know what, though? The reason why I buck, because, man, look at, man, she been on my case too much lately. So I had to fight back. It's like, bro,
you guys got to
try to fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but you ain't justifying nothing.
Yeah.
Because all we doing is really making things tougher for ourselves. You know what I mean?
Man,
always making things tougher. But it's like, man, if we sit up there and we can acknowledge when, okay, you know what, somebody said something, man, and it's very much you know, it's sense based.
But it
If
go to
it's
the
grounded
value though.
upon, yeah.
That go to that value you was talking about, because like a parent, like like I said, I done been there before too, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, luckily as I got older, man, you know what I mean, I got the right perspective, but it's like in your head, you already classify somebody as low value, medium value, what value they hold to you, what weight they name hold, or what weight they opinion hold.
You speaking on a daily topic now, bro. Hey, that's real dangerous, because it's from that right there that we start feeling like we put ourselves at a certain point, and now all of a sudden we, you know what I'm saying, our heads above the clouds with certain things and certain people, to the fact that we're not even gonna fix our ears to try to hear or listen to what somebody else has to say.
Right.
And that's dangerous, because even a crackhead can give you some type of wisdom. That's when we got to really be careful, bro. A child can drop bars on you. 100%. Really and truly, that's the best place to learn something from, is a child.
But like you said, like when you said that whole rapper piece, I remember growing up, like, you know, somebody say something on TV, and I'm like all over it. And then my mom said, or my grandma, and somebody, like you said, the teacher said in the classroom, I can't do it. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, man, you doing the craziest dances, you doing everything they tell you to do, like you said, that Simon Says. But the teacher tell you, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Like I said, we do that with the value, right? We do it with the value, man. I think it's the value. And that's why I said I want them to have a right, realistic view on things, man, because it's like, at the end of the day, man, like the word job, and people, like, they tell you all this stuff, and it's like, bro, what value are you adding to my life besides being entertaining? You know what I'm saying? That's all you do is entertain.
But see, that's crazy how we get fixated off of entertainment, though. Like, that is the end all be all.
Hold on. Hold that thought, man. Let me make this bottle real quick. You talking about value, man. She gonna let me know what value she hold.
Oh yeah. You gonna make a move too, quick. Well, look here, boy. I'm telling you, boy. Hey, even children understand their power, bro.
That's true.
They can shut shop down at any given moment.
Yeah, bro.
You could be in the grocery store thinking you about to add the value to your house, and right there on site, boy, they go crazy. Man, and now all of a sudden, hey, you got to deal with them first before anything else about to be done.
Bruh. Or either with my little one, man, I'm valuing sleep. 3 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm saying, ain't no small cry either, bro. She letting it all out. I'm like,
let you know. Yeah. So, hey, you start looking at a person that's so small, all of a sudden, boy, they make noise like a lion.
Bruh, crazy.
Well, get you about, for real.
Crazy, man.
Yes, sir.
But nah, man, my bad. I ain't mean to get off topic.
Oh, you good, bro?
But yeah, man, I think that value piece, and like it's the way you worded it. You said monetary value, and it's true, man. Like we put a value on everything.
Yeah, man. Check this out, bro.
What's up?
Like something that, like what I've been thinking about is this here, man. Like you know one of our favorite sayings these days, man, is we always talk about vibing, right?
Yeah, we
always talk about vibing. So, like one of the key areas in which we like to vibe, we vibe off of entertainment. Like that's a true vibe for us. Entertainment is for a lot of us, that is the vibe.
Yeah,
entertainment.
It is.
So check this out. So we look at entertainment as the end all be all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not being entertained, to be honest with you, if we're not being entertained, we're not subscribing.
Right.
So think about that. If we're not being entertained, we're not subscribing. So we'll look at it and we say, bro, if we getting entertained, we subscribing, now we vibing.
That's real though, bro. Do you think like social media is just like almost like a mirror image of some parts of social media? But
it is, man.
I would say like how you say subscribe, right? Like we'll do that on YouTube. Like we like quick. Something, we'll subscribe to it. And we do that in life. We do that. Oh, these Oreos hitting, let me subscribe to it.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me?
What subscribing look like? Hey, not only, bro. Hey, you become a bruh, man. Oh man, boy. Look here, boy. We getting ready to go there. So I was talking to my children the other night, right?
Right.
And I was telling them, I don't even know how we get. Oh, I remember, man. Here it is. It's like this whole conversation. You're ready to take a shift. So we was talking about because I felt it. I felt the need to talk to them to really like to gauge their climate. Because again, their existence is important. They're coming up in this world, and shame on me if I don't even explore, what's going on in their head on everything that's going on around them. Because they matter. They matter just like all of us matter.
Of course.
So we talking about the presidential. We were talking about the results from everything. And like again, they upset, and it's like, man, when you start talking to children, bro, you really get a keen understanding and sense on what's going on around them and what, in a sense, what a lot of people telling them, and just what they're
sponges, man.
Exactly, and what they're thinking. And it's like, man, so with both of them, they looked at Trump in a certain light.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just all ears. I want to take it all in. I want to listen to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they begin to talk about, one key topic, and that was, women's rights. And when it comes to, being able to, first of all, man, Park said it the best, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell a woman when to make one. You know what I'm saying? The baby.
Right.
And it's just like, the thing about it, man, no. When it comes to a woman's body, man, a woman's body is, that's that woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, they looked at it as though, he's taking away a right to be able to, to speak on behalf of your own body.
Right.
So that's how they were looking at it. And, and I just stood back and I was all ears just listening in and just like amazed at like, like looking at my children and then like thinking to myself, here it is. At 11 and 13 years old, this is how, and I'm talking about passionately,
able to back
vocal.
it up. Yeah. I was about to say, be able to articulate why they think that way.
Exactly. And I was impressed, man. I was definitely impressed. And, again, at the end of the day, if that's your beliefs, you stand on your beliefs. You don't let nobody sway you one way or the other on what your belief is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Somehow we got on the topic about numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I asked, I told him, I said, we started talking about slavery. And so I told my children, I said, slavery still exists today, whether we believe it or not, whether we want to believe it or not, it still exists today. And so both of them, they looking at me like, okay, Daddy, we're like, where you going at with this? And I asked them, I say, stop and think about it for a second. I said, what is slavery? And they both, opened up their mouth and in so many words, they brought it full circle to this. They said, pretty much working against your own will. I said, that's pretty much what it is, right? So I said, sex trafficking. Today, that's a form of slavery. I said, because people are being held against their will.
Oh, yeah.
And
No, I'm agreeing with you. I said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I said, so there you have it. I said, that's one form of, slavery, modern day slavery. Then I began to tell them, I said, another form of modern day slavery. I said, and you probably would have never thought about this, but I said, anybody that becomes an inmate in the prison system, that's another form of slavery. It is.
And what's it called? Indentured servitude.
Indentured servitude. Now we get on that. We get on that a little later. But check this out. Number one, their rights are taken away. Their rights are taken away as far as it goes. Like they can't. First of all, you're not making no money in they. And your right? Your rights to be honest with you, all of that stuff is very much questionable at that point. When somebody talk about throwing away your life, that's something for you to really take and think about that. Throwing away your life. What is your life? When you come in, I want you to think about something, brother. When you come into the world, a great thing that exists in this world is the moment that you are named. Right. That's a great moment. Huh?
No, I'm agreeing with. I said right.
Yeah, that's a form of greatness when you are named. Now, check this out. When your name is stripped away, and then all of a sudden, when the letters in your name become stripped away and they replaced with numbers, you officially just became property.
Right.
That's a UPC. That's a UPC code. Numbers.
No, I agree with you, man. I had to look it up. I said it's prison, a form of slavery. It said prison labor in the United States is considered a form of modern day slavery because it exploits incarcerated people and is built on racial legacy of slavery. 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution prohibits slavery and involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. This exception has been used to justify the exploitation of incarcerated people, lack of choice, economic benefit, historical roots, impacts on family, or some of the things that it causes. Incarcerated people are forced to work and have no right to refuse. They are also subject to arbitrary work assignments and can face punishment for not working. Prison labor generates billions of dollars in economic output for the government.
It's very lucrative.
The exception clause in the 13th Amendment was ratified after the Civil War and disproportionately criminalized Black people. Black slaves who were freed after the Civil War were often convicted of crimes and forced to work in prisons without pay.
See?
Nah, that's true, man. That is very true, man. That's well, how did we get on this topic? You was explaining that your kids.
It was some of the from the election we from that.
Oh, you was explaining to them. You was explaining to them.
I was explaining to them.
Gotcha.
And then we began to talk about wrongdoings and, what, like some of the most heinous things that people could do is, in life is taking a life. Yeah. And just like, it just really, it got us to that point of where we started talking about slavery.
Right.
And and so I was just, breaking that down to them, and it became an eye-opening experience for them because you don't think about that stuff. But the moment you're not able to walk around on your own or go and eat on your own stuff like that, man. Now you're seen as property now to somebody else or something else.
Yeah, that's very true.
Back in the day, some of the slave masters, they were branding slaves. Yeah, man, sitting up there, the moment your name, the letters in your name are erased and in their place. Is numbers. Yeah. You at that point in time, now your value, your monetary value, that's out the window. Yeah. No, we about to get this about you for free now, Bubble.
That's why I said, man, I want my kids to know certain principles, man, before they leave the house, man. Because when you don't teach your kids certain things, or when you have parents that are negligent or things like that, granted, it's crazy circumstances to where we got wars and all these things that may influence certain things. But for the most part, when you just negligent, you don't teach your kids this, the consequences are their value gets lowered. They don't know their value. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They lack certain opportunities. So it's bro. That's why I'm pushing for you got to teach your kids this. And that's why I said, when did the word job become a bad word? When did the word school become a bad word? Now, granted, everything in school are not taught. I mean, everything in school is not always good because you have people that go into it, you know what I'm saying, with the wrong intentions. Yeah, but for the most part, man, I think that's where it comes in, being involved. If you can't personally be involved, you at least try to get a support system that can, or ways that can. But I think those things need to be instituted. I hate it. I pushed against it when I was younger as far as education and things like that, but now I see the importance of it. You know what I'm saying? And and it's beneficial for things like that, for you to be able to hear your kids do that. What's up?
You know, and now one thing I'll say on that, because I do agree with you to an extent, but it's okay, I'll say this here. You said when you talking about education, it's the type of education that you're getting.
Yeah, true,
And
true.
with that, like seriously, because a lot of time, man, you can open up a book, man. Somebody can write some foolishness, put it in a book and say, you know what, now teach this to them.
Nah, 100%.
But the thing is, it's just like really and truly, like how monetary value. How can your monetary value be lowered?
Bro, in so many ways.
On a, you know what I'm saying? It could be lower. One of the ways is this here, the slave state of mind.
Which is what?
All right, the slave state of mind is being that you don't even understand, first of all, what your own worth is. You don't even understand where you come from. Like if somebody came from a land of kings and queens, but they never even seen royalty before, to be honest with you, and then you asking them to go, okay, I want you to go out there and act like somebody. They gonna act like what they used to seeing, or what their definition of, you know what I'm saying, somebody is. And the definition of somebody to them is not the definition that you hoping that they'll go out and betray on the streets.
No, that's true. That's true. Especially if you don't know your history, man. That's why, like, I think too, another form of like, the slavery mindset is like if you doing something and you don't apply it to yourself. Like for instance, like when you go to school, right? You don't apply how to research. You don't apply how to read, how to look up definitions, how to meet like those things, right? Because then it teaches you how to do for your own history. Like I do agree that like school do teach you a lot, but you also need to dive into your own history and know your own cultural history, family history. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Regional history, whatever the case may be. I think you got to dive into that person. You got to take personal accountability, basically. You know what I mean? Man. You got to be accountable for self.
And here we go, man. Here we go. We get ready to segue into the next thing. So, the election. What you just said, the election. This is how I'm gonna tie all of that in together.
What's up?
So, okay, we want to address the elephant in the room.
Not a lot of people was happy with a current candidate.
Exactly. Well, the results,
right?
So you're right. Not a lot of people was, right. So this is my thing. I don't have no problem with how. Honestly, I don't have no problem with how anyone feels until they're led by their feelings.
What you mean?
They're led by their emotions. Meaning that when you can open up your mouth and say, you know what? Oh my goodness. Boy, we had it for the next 4 years about to be terrible. That right there.
Yeah, I hate that.
So you're gonna allow a person, a figure. That's because at the end of the day, we can talk about the person, but at the end of the end of the day, I think what it is that we need to be talking about is we actually need to be talking about the figure, because it becomes bigger than a man.
Right.
Matter of fact, that's how they give it to us. They say that you're voting between an elephant and a donkey. Mm-hmm. It's a figure. Somebody mess around and say something, they talk about being politically correct, and really and truly, they're giving you another image of a figure of speech.
What you mean?
A figure of speech. You say something, right?
Right.
You talk about, hey, man, now it's time to address the elephant in the room. You'd be like, man, what you talking about? Oh, it's just a figure of speech.
Right. You're trying to paint the picture for him.
Exactly.
I get that.
So again, keeping it on topic with addressing the figure.
That's true. That's true. I do like representation, basically. Like who's going to represent us for the next 4 years, and what is the image?
Exactly. Not even who's going to represent us. What's going to. And this is the thing, we always get stuck, man, because we think just because the individual is up there. First of all, one individual ain't never spoke for a whole multitude of people.
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, exactly. That's my thing, man. I'm like,
you know what I'm saying?
That doesn't make to be honest, and this may be ignorant because I don't know everything. But to be real, the way I think is like this person doesn't drastically change my life. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it
Like
won't,
unless you
bro.
go to war, maybe. But even when you go to war, it wasn't like a Great Depression. We haven't had like a Great Depression where things was like terrible like that in years.
I feel exactly what you're saying. My thing is this here, man. At the end of the day, and I think this is what I had to tell. I had to tell two young people, man. And this is the one thing. Hold on. Like I thank God for this moment, right? I was wondering why I was called to do to be in a certain area in a certain field on a day or the day after, you know, the election.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, I'm out, like, bro, I'm like, I'm gonna just say, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like my ears was to the ground. I was out in the field, man. And it's like, I'm coming into contact with young people, of all people, young people. And it's like, bro, the day, I don't know if you recall, but the day after the election, bro, it was just like the post of most people that I came in contact with. It's like the morale was down, man. It's like people, the looks was dreary. And then really and truly, bro, the you know what I'm saying, the actual atmosphere outdoors was dreary. The sky, it was raining, all that. Mm-hmm. It's just like it was just a dreary looking day. And so it's just like, you know, I was looking at it, I said, man, this is about a trip. And it's like, man, for some odd reason, I wake up, I ain't dreary though. I'm like, man, look, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, I'm a shine. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's what I'm on. Exactly. And like, man, this ain't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even watch I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't even watch the results.
Me neither.
And not trying to sound like I'm ignorant or nothing like that. I don't want to be ignorant, but it's just the fact that I already went in with my mindset. I'm like, you know what? Regardless, first of all, we talk about certain situations, man, in which when you're talking about two individuals, man, that's running for office, right? We talk about it somehow in our mind. We get so brainwashed to the point to where we looking at these two individuals and we really are forced to pick between two people. Sometimes it's the, you know what I'm saying, it's the lesser of two evils, right? Mm-hmm. But we forced to pick somebody. And then we get so hell-bent on believing that the person that we gonna pick, we start somewhere in our mind, we believe that this is perfection.
Right.
Where even the person that we picking, they flawed. So it's like, regardless who winds up in office, understanding that these individuals are, number one, they're human, which means that we already flawed by nature.
Yep.
Understanding that ain't nobody perfect. Everybody is capable of a mistake. So at that point in time, no matter who makes it in office, all we got to do is remember, number one, that if your belief is in God Almighty, understand that your help coming from the Lord anyways.
100%, man.
That's number one. Secondly, it's like, man, I got to thinking about it, man, and the two people that I came into contact with, man, that I was blessed to come into contact with, these were two people of color. One was a young man, one was a young lady. And what I did, man, first of all, my job is not to get into politics. I don't get into politics. However, I can conversate. So I conversate. I began to conversate with them. And so I asked a question. I said, how y'all doing today? I said, y'all okay? And so, and the moment I did that, man, it's like sometimes, bro, when you invite conversation, if you don't invite it, you never know who's silently suffocating. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to invite conversation so that somebody can actually breathe.
Yeah, man.
So that's what I did. I just offered them an opportunity to breathe. Breathing sometimes can simply be venting. And man, when I did it, man, I'm talking about, you can hear the proverbial sighs. You can hear the proverbial, exhaling. Right. All of that stuff. And I'm like, I'm talking about, they really they went in. And so, man, the young lady, she went on and she began to, tell me, she was like, I these next, X amount of years, I think I better start seeking refuge. I might need to move to Canada. And so I'm listening to her. I'm like, well, dog. I said, Canada? She was like, yeah. And so, after a while, again, I continued to just vent. And then I continued to let her vent. And then after a while, I had to stop her because she went on and she said something that caught me. She was like, she mentioned God. So immediately after she mentioned God, I had to stop. I said, excuse me, young lady, if I may. Can I say something? You brought up God. Can I say something? She was like, please do. And so I told her, I said, okay, you brought up God. I said, but in doing so, you got to understand this here. I said, you said prayer. I said, but that's only half of the problem. I said, that's only one half of the, one half of the solution is prayer. And I said, the other half? And she said, what? Belief? I said, exactly. Your level of faith. I said, now you got to understand this stuff. I said, the things you say that can affect you one way or the other. 100%. Not what somebody else saying about you or what somebody else, whatever somebody else's judgment is or being under somebody else's direction. Nah, it's about what you say. When you got faith in the words that you speaking, and for a fact that you've been praying and you got faith over your prayers, I said, now that's powerful. That's when change happens. I said, one thing about it, I said, man, God still sit high. I said, man, God ain't took no days off. Even though something can appear to be one way, God ain't took no days off. God's still actively working. Now you might be tested because of what the appearance of something may be. But I say, you know what? I say, when the worst storms have hit, I've heard in cases which, man, sometimes that wind up being the best blessing for others. Now think about that. You can get blessed when a doggone storm come through. That can wind up being your breakthrough. That means God is still active at all times. So I went on and I had to tell her, and then a young man, I had to talk to him too, because the brother there, he sounded like he was flipping out too. And so I told him, I said, man, let me tell you, I said, first and foremost, I want both of y'all to understand something. You never know where you're headed if you never fully understood where you came from. And so both of them, like, they kind of looked puzzled, like they didn't know what I was talking about. I said, man, it's all about your roots, your connection points, what you connected to. That's the bigger picture. I said, now, one thing I want both of y'all to understand, I said, man, you got to understand that at the end of the day, being so-called black is something that comes with that. You connected to something that's bigger than you, something that's greater than you, but something that's still here and present. I said, one thing about it, we didn't been through many storms. I said, one thing about it, man, we've been knocked down. I said, one thing, the worst has been, done to us time after time after time. I said, but the thing about it is we continue to get up. We continue to march. We continue to prosper. I said, but all of that stuff, it's within us. I said, the one thing you can never allow to happen to you is your mindset. You can't let that become contaminated, corrupt, or poison. Those are the things you can't allow to happen to your mindset, because when that happens, it's over with.
Man, bro.
Man.
What did she say after that?
Man,
what did they say after that?
Man, look. So the brother got off he went on about his way, right? And when he went on about his way, he said, you know what? He said, I'm gonna try to be okay. I said, nah, man, don't try. I said, man, you put a Nike check on it, just do it. And he got off the vehicle to go to where he was going at, and he said, you know what, man? I thank you for that. So the other young lady, she took and when she was walking away from me, she said, you know what? I thank you so much. She said, you know what? I feel so good. She said, I don't know what I was thinking about, but everything you said is true. She said, I don't know what I was thinking about. She said, but all that, it don't matter. I said, exactly. I said, it matters, but really and truly in the grand scale, it really doesn't matter, because really and truly, you write your own chapters. And that girl, man, she was empowered, bro.
Nah, I'm empowered by what you said, man. That was deep, man, for real, for real. And I think, you know what I'm saying, that's a great stopping point, man, because at the end of the day, man, like your faith, your belief, man, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what leads and guides you. That's what keeps you putting the next foot in front of the other. You know,
Man, look here,
that's
bro.
real, bro. That's heavy.
I mean, before we get off, bro, I want you to think about something, man. Again, I'm taking this back to connection point, right? So with the connection points, first of all, man, God already told you in the good book, there's no new thing under the sun, which means that it's all been done before. So if we understand that, right, that pretty much our life, man, is an open book test. And we really like stop and think about it from that point of view, right? If we are living in the days of Moses, right, and Pharaoh comes into power and he doesn't want to let his people go. I want you to see what I'm putting down here, bro. But he doesn't want to let his people go. You know what I'm saying? Oppression is at an all-time high. Depression at an all-time high. You know what I'm saying? All these different things at an all-time high. But Pharaoh comes into power. Now, bro, something to think about, man. God is sending a messenger. The messenger, he ain't sitting up there, he ain't boisterous, he ain't sitting up there, he ain't bragging, he ain't sitting around. All he doing is coming with one message, and that message is simple. Let my people go.
That's it.
Bruh, let my people go. That's it. That's it. What we, the people, have to do, man, we have to let envy go. We have to let hatred go. We got to let all these different things go, man. And what we need to really do, we got to lock in, man, on who we truly are. We lock on all these things, man. To be honest with you, ain't about what the next person doing. Ain't about what the person on the TV doing. Ain't about none of that stuff. It's about that connection point. Build that connection point up. We got to get that back strong. That's what's immersed within the earth. That's what's grounded. That's the roots of the issues. That's the root of the problems right there. Is what's going on beneath the ground. That's the stuff that you can't see. That's the stuff we still battling with. That slave state of mind we talked about before, man. All that taking letters, man, and turning letters into numbers, bro. That's the stuff we still battling with. Mm-hmm. When we figure out all of that, man, look at, man, we realize, man, look at this here. Nah, man, look at you'll be running, man. You'll laugh on the way to the bank. I just put it like that.
Nah, E, man, that's heavy, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You blessed the mic with that one, man. You got that thing smoking.
Man, look here, boy. That's the God be the glory, bro. That's all I can say on that day.
If you liked anything we said, man, if you was blessed by anything we said, if you didn't like anything we said, please like, share, comment, man. We love the support, man. We love to hear from the listeners. This is the Real Talk Podcast, man. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, share. Peace.
Real talk.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you want to check out more of our content, please visit our social media platforms linked in the description of this episode. You can also check us out each week where we drop a new episode every single Thursday. So don't forget, like, share, comment, and thanks again for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.